Yecheskel Abramsky was living in Yerushalayim in Beit Vagan. He was taking a walk, very distinguished looking, long flowing white beard, and he was walking with a younger man, and he notices a little girl, and she's crying. Rav Abramsky goes over to the little girl, and he bends over, and he says, "What's wrong, Meidale? Why are you crying?" And she says, "Because my friend told me that my new dress is horrible." So Rav Abramsky, the great leader of Klal Yisrael, who'd survived Siberia and survived the communists, who had been the great Rav of Slutsk and had built up Yiddishkeit in London, he says to the little girl, "What's your name?" "Shoshana. Shoshana, I want you to go back home to your mother and tell your mother that you met Rav Abramsky, who's the Godel Adoy, and he said you have a beautiful name and you have a beautiful dress." The younger man turns to Rav Abramsky and he says, "Rebbe, you have to be busy with this type of thing?" So Rav Abramsky said, "You know about the Rebbeinu Shloilom, it says that when Mashiach comes, Umocho Hashem Eloikim Dimo Me'al Kol Ponim, the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to wipe away the tears off every single face." What does it mean, kol ponim, every face? Even a little child who's crying about a dress, something that seems insignificant, Hashem will wipe away those tears too. And we have to emulate the Rebbeinu Shalom's ways. Mahu rachu mafato rachu. And so I am also duty-bound to wipe away the tear of this little child who's crying about her little dress. Hashem tzadik yivchon. The Medrash says that when the Rebbeinu Shalom elevates a person into greatness, then he doesn't check him and decide based on his big feats, but he decides based on something small, on a dover cotton, on something that seems to us trivial. Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who stood up against the Mitzri and killed the Mitzri. He stood up against Dosam and Aviram. Rosh Olam Asakariyecho. And when the shepherds were bullying Yisro's daughters, he was there to defend them. Yet, that still didn't get him the position as leader of Klal Yisrael. Hashem Tzadik Yivchon, when Hashem saw how he tenderly cared for a kid goat, and he carried that goat and spoke to the goat to calm him down. "I didn't realize that you were thirsty. I didn't realize you were tired." That's when he managed to clinch the deal. That's when the Rebbeinu Shalom chose him as leader of Klal Yisrael. Shifra and Pur, Yocheved and Miriam, they achieved phenomenal things. All of Klal Yisrael was built upon them. They risked their lives to save thousands upon tens of thousands of little babies. Not only that, but they defied Paro's orders and provided sustenance, food and drink to all the families. Yet the Torah doesn't name them after these acts. The Torah calls them Shifra and Pur. Why Shifra? She meshaperes es havlad. Because she beautifies the baby. She bathes the baby. She tends to the baby. She swaddles the baby. She clothes the baby. What is Pur? She coos to the baby. Miriam soothed the baby. She sang a lullaby. She spoke softly and calmed the baby down. That's why they are named Shifra and Pur. Because the Rebbeinu Shalom treasures these acts that seem to us so trivial. So let us remember, as we go about our daily grind of day-to-day mundane activities, let's remember the Rebbeinu Shalom treasures those activities, those deeds that we do as we go about the house, dealing with everything that needs dealing with and tending to our children. These are the acts that the Rebbeinu Shalom treasures. And no doubt, the Rebbeinu Shalom will bench us with all our heartfelt requests for fulfilling our daily duties and wiping away the tears from our little children's eyes.